Welcome back to Illini Drive. My name is Josh Pietsch, joined alongside with Gabby Hajduk. Gabby, how are you?
I'm good. It's been a minute since we've both been here. I feel like this happens like every other week.
This definitely happens every week because it's basketball season now.
I know. So I'm always gone or you're home or something, but we're back.
Yeah,
together.
we're back.
So exciting.
Unfortunately, Brennan isn't here, but it's okay because because the famous Gabby's here.
Of course.
All right, well, I guess we'll get right into it. You were at State Farm Center on Tuesday night to witness what happened. I guess it wasn't big deal. Illinois still won the game, but personally watching, after a pretty hopeful first 15 minutes, I was disappointed to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, they opened up really well.
Yeah.
Like, they had a hot start, which has been few and far between for this Illinois team. They start well, everyone's aggressive, Kofi's playing well, then he gets a couple fouls. And then Georgie comes in. Things are still fine. I thought Georgie played a really good first half. I think he kept Illinois from letting Northwestern come back in the first half. I think if Georgie wasn't playing well, it would have been a lot closer game at halftime. So shout out Georgie for that. He obviously didn't really play much the second half because that's because Kofi just played really well in the second half. And then halftime ends a little rough. He missed a couple shots. Adam Miller misses an open three. Going to halftime up, I think, around like 12, 15. And then Northwestern goes on like a 9-0 run. And now we have a game when there shouldn't be a game. Obviously, Io ends up closing it out. I guess Io and DeMonte. DeMonte had a really good, smart defensive play to kind of set up a three-pointer. And then, Io obviously put the daggers in with back-to-back three-pointers. But it shouldn't have been to that point. Like, it should not have gotten to the point where we needed Io's heroics again. Like, I really thought they had learned the lesson from Nebraska that no matter what level of a team it is, it's still a good college basketball team. Like, yeah, Illinois should always blow Northwestern, Nebraska, those type of teams out. But I really thought that this Illinois team had a grasp on the fact that they still had to play a full 40 minutes. And that was not obvious.
Yeah, I mean, Brendan and I were on the show Tuesday, and we said if this Illinois team comes out hot, bam, we're finally going to win a game by 25 or 30, and it's going to be pretty. And then they come out, and they're almost up 20, like 10 minutes into the game. I was watching the game next to a buddy of mine, and I said, man, you know what? It's so nice to just be watching a game like this and not have to worry about losing. Like, you can kind of just sit back and hang out with your friends with the game in the background. Nope. Because, another thing that I noticed that was really bad at the end of the first half was turnovers, specifically by Io, by the way. 5 turnovers for Io is a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot.
But yeah, it was a sloppy game. I get it. Northwestern's not a good matchup for us size-wise, but at the same, because they have the 3 really good guards, and then Kopp is really good. He didn't score a whole... I'm sorry, Nance is a little bit better. But I still very disappointing. Like, you come away with the win, and Io proves for like the 9th time that he's the National Player of the Year. But 7 points against this Northwestern team just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Io's already proved himself. Now it's time for the rest of the team to prove themselves, and that hasn't been happening as of late. And obviously, Io made some mistakes in the first half. He wasn't great in the first half, but he shouldn't have to be on every single day in order to give Illinois a chance to win. And I just think it's frustrating because as we get closer to tournament time, you can't be having that. You will lose in the first round. You will get upset in the first round if you're relying on one player. And I think that's what's kind of happening right now. And I don't know whether it's just the other players aren't in their groove right now or kind of what's going on in that locker room. And I'm just worried that because Io continues to save the day, that they're not taking a hard enough look at, okay, we almost lost that game. Obviously a win's a win, and it looks great on your record, but when you take a little deeper dive into the win, I feel like there has to be a lot of self-reflection. And again, I thought that was fixed after Nebraska, after you almost lose to the worst team in the Big Ten. I thought there would be some really positive self-reflection. And it looked like there was through the first 12, 15 minutes. you still have to play a full 40 minutes against a bad team. And that's the problem, is they're not doing that, and they haven't done that all season.
So here's what I was thinking about this team earlier today, and this is kind of what went into my head. I think that Illinois has a really high ceiling, right? Very high ceiling. But their floor isn't as high as other teams, like maybe Wisconsin, right? Like you and I were so confused as to why Wisconsin was a top 10 team heading into the year. Obviously, we're proven right now, but I think that with that maturity and all the veterans on their team, what is the average age on their team, on their starting lineup is like higher than the Bulls or something.
Yeah, it's wild.
But they have a very high floor where I think Illinois has a higher ceiling. And heading into the tournament, of course, you want the higher ceiling because you have to be a very good team playing very well to win the tournament. I think that the last time there was a tournament before last year's got canceled, like Auburn was the big team that made the surprise run. They went through the SEC tournament and beat Tennessee, who I thought was going to go to the Final Four, and they were like a 5 seed. They fly through, go to the Final Four, coulda, woulda, shoulda beaten Virginia if it weren't for an iffy foul call. So I think Illinois is capable of a run like that. At the minimum, I think Illinois is going to be a 3 or 4 seed. I can't see them being a 5 seed. But at the same time, with that high ceiling, could come a tournament run like that, I think.
I might disagree with you on the high ceiling. I think they do have a higher ceiling than what we've seen. But I find it hard to keep, like, I can't keep defending this team when we think that with all the talent on the team, there is a high ceiling, but is there really when they prove time and time again that they aren't hitting that level? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, the potential is there, like the raw individual potential is there, but we've gone this whole season and seen them play full 40 minutes maybe twice. And like, to me, that just screams like maybe this team isn't as good as we thought they were. I mean, just because you have talented individuals doesn't mean you're going to have a talented team. And I think this is part of the problem is there's a lot of talented pieces, but are they all coming together at the right time? No. And if that's not going to happen, like you can't, let me back up. You can't think, like I can't think that a team is a Final Four team just based on what could be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think we're far enough into the season that maybe it's time for like us to look really deeply and if this team really is that good. And I'm starting to believe that they're just not.
Okay, well, that's very pessimistic, but at the same time, I understand where you're coming from.
It that way, because it's like, sure, you have 2 of the best players in the country, okay? Then you have 2 guys, Trent and DeMonte, who are super talented defensively, veteran mentality, good in big moments. You know, you have a guy like Jacob Grandison. He can shoot the ball well. He's long. He's that wing player that you need. You know, you have 2 talented freshmen, Adam Miller, Andre Curbelo. Sure, you have all this talent and you have all this potential. But if it hasn't all come together by now, it never will, in my opinion. I just think it's hard when you've maybe seen it once or twice this entire season. And even then, have we really seen it for a full game? I honestly don't think we have.
I would disagree there. I think that Duke, Wisconsin, and Iowa
clearly wasn't that good.
But they were still hyped up, and it was still at Cameron Indoor.
I'll give you Iowa.
What about Wisconsin?
Wisconsin's not good.
Wisconsin can be good. When Wisconsin beats Iowa tonight, you're gonna.
I don't think they're that good.
Actually, they're losing by 6 right now. I should eat my words. Okay, what about this? Another thought I had earlier.
Okay.
Ohio State football this year snuck away with a win against Indiana, who was just okay. They were kind of like, they weren't winning games by huge numbers. They didn't kill Penn State, who ended up being really bad. Like, and then what do? They go to the playoff and they destroy Clemson.
Yeah, but football, you only have a select number of games. Like, you only have They only have like 7 games this season.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Is like Illinois has played most of their games so far, so it's like I feel like I've seen enough to where I see what this team is, and I really just think that they're not a Final Four team like we thought they were. And I hate to say that because I really want them to be. But again, like I keep hammering in, if we have not seen that by now, because okay, sure, you can put that together against Iowa. You have to put that together against the 11, 12 seed come tournament time. It doesn't matter what you do against Iowa if you don't even get there. And that's where I'm at, is like, sure, you play your best game against Iowa because they're the best team you face. If you don't play your best game against every team in the tournament, it doesn't matter. So it's like when I see them come out and not have good games against Northwestern, Maryland, Nebraska, whatever, it worries me about those first couple games. Because again, it doesn't matter if you play well against Iowa, if you play well against Villanova, whoever. If you don't play well against every single team, it doesn't matter.
I will say this. I think that if Illinois does get the 2 seed or 3 seed or whatever, they play good enough defense that I'm pretty confident in that first round game. But if they're playing a 6 or a 7 seed that plays at the level that maybe like Purdue or a little bit better plays at, yeah, that's the game to circle. Because that game might be even tougher than your Sweet 16 game.
Because you can't just show up when you want to show up. And that's what I feel like this team does. And I don't mean any offense to anybody on the team, but it's just purely of what I've seen. Like, they all only show up when they want to show up. And that's against Iowa, Wisconsin. Like, these big, bad teams that, look great on the resume. But if all of you don't show up against every game, against every team, it doesn't matter what you do against the Iowas of the world.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know. I hate to be pessimistic because I want to be optimistic, but they haven't given me much reason to.
It's just,
that's what I'm saying. Like, I can't keep defending a team and defending their potential when we've had time for their potential to play out. Like, I'm not saying they can't do it. I'm not saying they won't succeed come tournament time. I don't know. But right now, to me, it just doesn't look like that's a possibility.
I understand what you're saying. I think that they show up in big moments, and every moment in March Madness is a big moment. But then again, you look at a game like Rutgers, right? They're up like 10 the first half at the rack, and they probably get a little comfortable, and then bam, they end up going down like 10 or 15 or something like that. I don't know. It's frustrating to watch, to say the least.
They're a really frustrating team to watch.
Extremely, because you go up 20 and you feel comfortable. I went to the bathroom, I come back, we're up 11. I was like, Christos, what the heck just happened?
You literally can never feel comfortable with them.
No, you can't feel comfortable, which is sad.
That's a huge red flag come like big time moments like we're about to get. So
for sure. I mean, and obviously we're going to talk about it a little later, but like you can argue this Minnesota game's a big time moment. They don't lose at the barn. I really
think they're going to lose. We can talk about
we'll talk about it later, but yeah, I mean, like, well, I guess like skipping that one since we're about to cover that in about 20 minutes or so, or preview it in 20 minutes or so. Like at Wisconsin, at Ohio State, at Michigan State, all games they have coming up. They could win them all. They're not going to.
No.
And notice I put Michigan State in there because I could see Illinois losing that game by 10.
That's the thing now is like I don't think any game is a win with them. Like I don't look at any game and it's like, yep, for sure win. When that's how it should be.
And
I'm very sick of hearing the Big Ten is just really deep.
It is.
It is to an extent. And every Power 5 team is going to be good. You're going to have good players. You know what I mean? Like we're at college and NBA, like you're at that level where like there's talent everywhere. So like even the worst teams are still some of the best teams in the world. You know what I mean? Like have some of the best players in the world, but like that doesn't give you an excuse to just like come out and play poorly. Like that doesn't just because the Big Ten is deep. That can't be an excuse for Illinois just simply playing bad. Like, it's not like Northwestern came out and had this whole new scheme, put out this whole new defense, and just Illinois wasn't ready. Like, Northwestern looked god-awful in the first half, and Illinois still...
Hold on a second. For about 30 minutes of the game, Northwestern shot very well.
Through 15 minutes, they were shooting like 25%.
Okay, so then for 25 minutes, they shot very well.
I didn't think they shot that well.
They were, if you look at, Northwestern made a lot of tough shots.
They
didn't have a high field goal percentage because, frankly, Illinois is a good defensive team. It's
Yeah.
So, by the way, I was talking about this with someone, they got confused when I was speaking. We're talking about the offense. that's like inconsistent, right? Like the defense, I think, has been fine.
No, I agree. I think defense is still good.
Like I think Northwestern shot very well. This is all offensive we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But then flip side, like they didn't put any, or Northwestern didn't put anything new on defense in the second half, and
Right.
Illinois just looked bad.
Yeah,
Like,
it's all offense.
that's
I agree.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like I just because sure the Big Ten is deep and like there's a lot of good teams, that doesn't mean that like you have an excuse for playing poorly for half of the Northwestern game. That's all I'm trying to say. It's like I'm so sick of that.
No, I agree.
I'm very sick of it.
Last thing I ask you before we go to break: Illinois is the 5th ranked team in the country by AP. Where should they be ranked? I have a number in my head.
Not 5, probably 10.
I say 12. I've been pretty set on 12 all year. I think 12 is extremely fair.
Yeah,
last
think,
3 seed.
10 to 13.
Yeah. It seems right for them, and I wish that we'd stick there because I think that the number next to our name.
There's so much back and forth. Like, yeah, sure, they beat 1 or 2 really good teams. They pump up, and then they lose or about to lose to 2 really bad teams. And it's like...
They might be the 5th best team in the country when they're playing well, but they don't play that well enough.
But they've played like the number 5 team in the country twice.
No,
I would say Iowa and Duke.
Iowa, Duke, Wisconsin. That when we beat Minnesota at home, that was good. They killed them.
Yeah, but Minnesota loses every road game. They haven't won 1 road game this season, and they're really not that good.
Well, technically, home court doesn't mean anything right now, but I know what you're saying.
I still think it does.
All right. Well, we're both frustrated with Illinois basketball. Come on, Brad.
Very much.
Pick it up.
Very much so. I don't like. And, Brad's been saying after all these losses or after all these like close wins, I'm putting it in the win column. It's a win. It's a win. Yeah, but like at what cost?
At what cost?
At what point do you stop saying that? It's, you know what I mean? Like at one point is a win not enough?
It is worth noting though, like Io didn't play well. 5 turnovers and only 13 points for him is a bad game. It was a bad game. He didn't look good until the last 2 or 3 minutes. Yeah. Excuse me.
Well,
obviously,
I'd say like the last 10 minutes because he started shooting well at like the 9-7.
How many points did he have through 30 minutes? Like 6, something like that. 7?
He had 3 at halftime.
Okay, there you go.
But he also made I don't know. I thought his passing was really good and his defense.
His passing and defense. Well, his defense is always good. I'm not concerned about defense.
I don't think he had a bad game. I just don't think he.
The turnovers
had
really
the best
weren't good.
Game.
Yeah, because a lot of their points ended up being like kind of transition points at the end of the first half, and 3 of those were due to his turnovers. Yeah. They were not good, but he didn't have a turnover in the second half. I don't think.
Yeah.
Maybe 1, but all right. We'll take a little break here. We'll be right back on Illini Drive. Welcome back into Illini Drive. Even though there's going to be no, signees really or hires for the football team, what we do see happening right now is Bielema and his staff each have, I think every assistant has an area of the state, right, Gabby, that they're calling every single high school football coach in the state right now.
As they should.
As they definitely should.
Freaking time.
And then you have all these high school coaches going on Twitter, like big name people too, saying, wow, like, I think someone said today, like, these Illinois coaches are walking the talk right now. Like, they're finally building something here in Illinois. I'm so bought in.
You want to know why? You want to know why that's happening, Josh? Ask
Enlighten
me why.
me. Enlighten me, Gabby.
Because, let me whisper it. Because these are actually, like, really good assistant coaches who have experience. Okay.
You mean it's a real college football staff?
It's a real college football program now. And I'm not trying to knock on any of the coaches and Lovie Smith. I always rode for Lovie Smith up until the end. And he's a good guy. And all the coaches I've ever interacted with on the staff were great guys. Rod Smith, amazing. Andrew Hayes-Stoker, love. Like, these are great guys. I'm not knocking on them. But Bielema has brought in some legit assistants. He literally took Mizzou's defensive coordinator, Tony Peterson, the offensive coordinator, has years and years of coaching experience. Literally every assistant has D1 coaching experience, and most of them have like coordinator experience.
The one I think the biggest one's getting Andy Boo.
Andy Boo.
That's 25 years, 23 years, whatever.
He's been everywhere. And that's the thing is you have these coaches. You bring in these coaches. I'm very passionate about this, okay?
Go off.
You bring in these coaches who have connections all over the country because they've already been all over the country. And you know what? Some of them are old, some of them are young. You have this great mix. You have diversity of age, diversity of race, diversity of personality type. You have this staff that's so diverse. And that's, you see every every sport nowadays. It's like all about diversity. You know, look at the Buccaneers staff. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, yes, Tom Brady. You look at that, but you have to take a step back and look at these organizations as a whole because it really starts at the top. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have the most diverse staff in like all of sports in the nation. Like they have women on their staff. They have Black men on their staff. They have they just have so much diversity. Like other people of color, like literally just diversity. And I think that helps so much. And I think the thing with that is most college football players, most college basketball players are Black. They're Black athletes. They're Black men. And most coaching staffs are predominantly white. Obviously, Brett Bielema's a white man. But when you fill your staff with people who look like the people that are coming to play for you, that helps. And that helps these parents, especially in the society we live in right now with all these issues with race, which I'm not going to get into that, but I'm sure that helps parents. And I'm sure that helps kids who, are lost somewhere they want to go. Do they want to go, to a school with, proven success? Do they want to try and go to a place like Illinois where, there's a chance to really do something special? And then you have people that look like you and people that understand you. And I think that helps so much. That was a little off topic, but I really think the biggest part about Bielema is he put together a top staff in the country. I mean, there's not many staffs that look like this. I genuinely think that he got the best guy for every position.
The one position that some people are questioning is offensive coordinator, which I think if that's what the fans are questioning, great job, Brett Bielema. If Tony Peterson is what you're questioning, then
because
I
awesome. Still think he's a great hire.
He is, and I think that back to the original point here is that it's all based on recruiting right now, right? Every single person that he hired, he had the conversation with Lovie Smith's a good guy, but the fact that he did not recruit this state is kind of unbelievable. So not only are they going to recruit the state, they're going above and beyond. They're calling every single coach saying, this is a new look Illinois team. Get your kids here. And clearly the coaches are buying in. Because even though Brett's not calling every team, even though it's not Ryan Walters or Trent Peterson or Bart Miller, every single coach has gotten some sort of response on Twitter saying, I had a great call with Kevin Kane today. I had a great call with Bart Miller today. This team is new. This is different. Yeah. And they're good. They're going to be good.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is, obviously you have to push in-state recruiting because, this isn't Texas or Florida, whatever, but there's a lot of great guys that come out of Illinois. And I think the reason why Bielema has to push so hard is because he has to change the narrative. Because obviously if you're a new coach, you just come in and kind of, do some in-state recruiting here and there. They're not going to take you seriously because of the history at Illinois. The recent history at Illinois is not recruiting the state. So you had to go in there as Brett Bielema. You had to go in there and completely do a complete 180. Because if you only did a 90-degree change, you're not going to get the response you're getting because no one's going to respect you. No one's going to think that you're actually trying to make a change. They see it as just they don't want to. Illinois doesn't want to recruit their own state. No, he came in, did a complete 180, and I think that's the thing is he didn't just do it. He did it right. He did it the best way possible. And I also think splitting up these assistants. And obviously Bielema isn't calling everybody, and he's not a part of every little thing. And that's okay, because you have these assistants who can reach specific parts, who have connections in specific parts, and who can connect a little better with these athletes. Obviously, Brett Bielema has a lot to deal with, and so do his assistants, but he has 10 times more. So he can't always create those super personal relationships. So if you can have one of your assistants do it, it's still, I think, the same as having the head coach. Obviously, having the head coach talk to you is different, but building a relationship just from like the recruiting process with a specific guy, I think, is really important.
Yeah, and I think that one thing that they focused on, you hit on this, obviously, like the diversity of the staff, is that every single player that can come in here now is going to feel comfortable one way or the other. Mm-hmm. Not only being around men that are, like welcoming and nice, but someone, like you said, they look like them. They think like me. They're from somewhere where I'm from. Like Corey Patterson's the one guy that was retained from Lovie Smith's staff, right? Mm-hmm. We all looked at him. We're like, wow, he's like the best assistant on this staff. He is a great coach, but he's not the best assistant on this staff, which I think speaks volume to what Bielema's doing, because he retained someone that everyone loved and Illinois fans loved, the players loved, and that's maybe why a lot of players stayed. And now bringing other guys in, and then you have like look at Owen Carney. He was probably saying to himself, "I'm done with this program. Like, screw this, I'm out of here." And then he goes in the transfer portal, talks to a few of the coaches. He's like, "All right, I'm back."
Yeah, I think it's a huge sign that something good is happening. The thing is, the thing I want to remind everybody is this: because of the process they're doing, they're not trying to just like win right now. I think that's the thing, is Lovie just like from the jump missed out on recruiting. He missed out on what it took. He refused to do what it took to recruit the guys and to recruit high recruits. And so every year after those first like 2 or 3 years, he was just gluing together massive chunks, taking literally like Scotch tape on something that needs like Gorilla Glue, okay? By just taking all these transfer guys. And yeah, it helped for a season. And that's the thing, is those transfer guys, sure, they help here and there. But if you ever want to be successful and sustain success like Josh Whitman wants to do, you have to start years and years in advance. Like, you have to look years in advance. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to, as much, I think there's a lot of talent on this current roster. This isn't the best roster Bielema wants to have. I think he is looking far beyond this year, which he should. He wasn't brought in to win this second. And that's
why they gave him a 6-year deal, right?
Yeah. And you can't expect a guy to come in and turn around a team in one season. Again, I think they'll have a solid season. I said 4 or 5 wins. I know you said more like 5, 6.
4 or 5 sounds
4 or 5.
Right.
I think I said 4, you said 5 when we last talked. But I think I think what he's doing is really good. He's looking long term, and that's what you have to do to win at this point.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that this year's coaching staff will 100% not be next year's coaching staff, because this is the type of staff now where Illinois might, like, maybe not this year if they do win 4 or 5 games, but the second Illinois makes a bowl, like that associate head coach who's the linebackers coach, Kevin Kane, man, he should be my defensive coordinator. He has experience at SMU. Bam. He goes out. Bielema has to find someone else. And that's how it should be, right?
Yeah.
No one's going to retain a perfect staff, because that's why Kevin Kane's here. He said, I took a step down so that I can put myself in a better position to do better later. Mm-hmm. And I think it's genius. I think he's doing exactly what he should, because in 2 or 3 years, he could be the defensive coordinator or better for a high-level Division I team. Not saying SMU isn't, but someone even higher, like a Power 5 school.
No, I agree. I think when Whitman was making this hire, like, I don't know if it's necessarily Whitman's make or break moment, but I think it's close to that. And I think you weren't looking for a quick fix. You weren't looking to just get to another bowl game. Like, you're looking to make Illinois football a legitimate Power 5 program again. And it hasn't been that in decades. And I think we have to give it time. I think they're on the right track. I mean, they've done everything right so far, and that's hard to do. It's hard to get everything right. I think they're doing that right now. And I think are they ever going to be Ohio State now?
But they can be Wisconsin. Yes, they can.
Northwestern.
But they can be Wisconsin.
I don't know if they can be Wisconsin. We'll see. I don't know. I'm excited for this football season. Hopefully it gets played in full. I hope everyone's all fully vaccinated by then and everybody can pack Memorial Stadium.
Well, the other little bit of news is that Ireland is not happening anymore. I've been saying you can back me up. I've been saying this all along. I thought the Dublin game was going to get moved all along to Memorial Stadium.
And I'm depressed because I was actually planning on going to Ireland.
Well, I'm happy because even though most likely you and I are both going to be up in the press box, it's still going to be a cool sight seeing, night game, possibly college game day. It's the only Power 5 game in week 0. I don't know. But to have that atmosphere is going to be cool.
I'd rather be in Ireland.
Were you actually going to go?
Yes.
You and Jackson?
Yes.
Thanks for the invite.
Whatever, Josh. I don't know what you're doing next year.
That's true. It's still very undecided. All right. Well, anyways, we're going to take a break real quick. When we get back, as we always do, previewing the Minnesota game. That's next on Illini Drive. Welcome back to Illini Drive. Saturday at 2:30, Illinois plays again. They're traveling to Minneapolis to take on Minnesota, who they beat pretty handily earlier in the year. But everyone knows that Minnesota is a very different team at home. I'm pretty sure they're 13-1 on the year at home, something like that. So they're going to be tough to beat. Gabby, do you expect? Well, we can give predictions later, but do you expect Illinois to play well? Do you think they're going to come out like Duke, Iowa, Wisconsin, or is this going to be a Maryland, Nebraska, Northwestern show up?
Wish I knew the answer, Josh. I don't know. I really think that they're going to come out well, but it's just not going to. They're going to come out fine. That's a better way to put it. I think they're going to come out fine, but I don't think they're going to win.
Okay. Who's going to beat them?
What do you mean, who's going to beat him?
I mean, is Marcus Carr going to have the game of his life? Is it going to be the big guy that can do anything against Kofi, who's their best player outside Carr, Liam Robbins?
I mean, I think it's going to be a combination. I think Marcus Carr is definitely going to prove a challenge. He's obviously one of the best in the business right now. He averages 19.4 points a game. I mean, that's really good.
It's elite, yeah.
It's really good. And then Liam Robbins averages 12.6. So somewhere around what Io and Kofi are averaging. Obviously, Io's averaging, I think, like 21 or 22 points a game. I forget what Kofi's averaging, somewhere around like between 10 and 15. I don't know. He's averaging a double-double right now. I don't know. I can't really put my finger on what I think is going to be like the deciding factor. I feel like Illinois is like due for a loss. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like that, I just feel it in my heart that they're just like due to lose one. And I don't think it'd be a horrible loss. I think Minnesota is like the weirdest team in the world right now, where they look like a freaking Elite 8 team at home, and then they look like a team that shouldn't even make the tournament on the road. Very weird, very hard to judge them. Very happy I'm not a beat writer for Minnesota, because I think I'd, like pick my hair out every day. I just feel like Illinois is due for a loss. I feel like they aren't learning from their mistakes, and I think that's going to catch up to them against two really good players.
Just real quick, can you guess who their only home loss is to this year?
Iowa?
Maryland.
Oh, wow. Who lost to Maryland at home? Illinois.
And Wisconsin. Maryland just likes to get you on the road.
Maryland does.
Turgeon's an awesome coach. Yeah, I mean, so the key to me is also going to be Marcus Carr, because as much as I love the way that Trent has improved his defense and I love his work ethic, I think that Io would be a much better, guy for Illinois to have guard Carr. But Trent will definitely start on him. And if he plays defense on him the way he did last time, Illinois is winning this game. But if he struggles early and he wants to stay on him, or maybe Io struggles, that's how I could definitely see Illinois losing this thing, is if Marcus Carr has his 25, 30, 35-point game at home,
Which
shoots
is
over
definitely
50% from the field.
reasonable.
For sure.
He has those. And I mean, I think the thing is Trent played really good defense on Marcus Carr last time. It's hard to do that twice.
Very.
It's hard to do it once. It's even harder to do that again against a really good player. He's even in running for National Player of the Year. He's in running for Big Ten Player of the Year. I don't think he'll get either, but he's a really freaking good player.
He's really good. I mean, some people say, like, it's not going to happen, but the two All-American first teams guards could very well be Io and Marcus Carr. It's not going to happen because you have Jalen Suggs, Cade Cunningham, and Jared Butler. But in another year, that could very well happen.
I agree.
It is going to be an awesome guard matchup. I think that, who knows, maybe I only scored like 10 points last time against Minnesota. He kind of just backed off and let the rest of the team do their thing. But maybe this will be an Io game. Maybe this will be a 30-point Io game again where he just has to do it himself.
Every other game.
Yeah, but I definitely more expect Kofi to have a big one.
Really?
Again. Well, look what happened last time. Robbins got into foul trouble right away. Kofi just didn't. It wasn't that the game he had like 9 dunks.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure the last time they played,
that was a while. Like this game was a while ago. The 9 dunks game was like 2 weeks ago.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Kofi last time. No, I was right. He scored 33 points last time against Minnesota. They won by 27.
Well, yeah, I mean, it'll definitely do. I think that's definitely like the matchup to watch. Obviously, Marcus Carr is probably going to get his points, but I think if Kofi can push Rob, I think it's whoever pushes the other into foul trouble. Because as well as Georgie played against Northwestern, I don't think he could reciprocate that against Liam Robbins, because I just think Robbins is better and bigger, obviously, than Northwestern's bigs.
Yeah.
So I do think this might not come down, but I think a big factor will be which big pushes the other into foul trouble first.
See,
because I don't think either of their backups could handle the starter.
Robbins is a freshman, and he's gotten a lot better this year, but still, he's a junior, actually. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I still think that Kofi has his number from last time. Kofi dominated him last time. Robbins wanted absolutely nothing to do with Kofi.
I agree, but I think that could have changed. I think maybe he saw it. He understands what Kofi does now. I think Robbins is a bit quicker than Kofi. So I think if he plays it right, and if he learned enough from the first matchup, not easily, but he could definitely, we've seen it. Like, if you play Kofi the right way, if you make him kind of move out of his element a little, out of, just the low block, you could easily push him into foul trouble. It's not hard to do.
Minnesota's such a weird team. They got up to that 18th, 22nd ranked spot for a couple weeks there. And now they're 13-9, 6-9 in conference. But like you said, then they go back to the barn and they look like they could make the Elite Eight.
Right? Like, I don't know. I just think they're a very hard team to look at. I mean, their last they just lost yesterday to Indiana at Indiana. 82-72. Before that, pretty big 72-59 loss to Maryland. And then they beat Purdue and Nebraska. So they haven't, I don't think they've played like a top level team in a while. I think the last really good team, Rutgers is good, but I don't know. I think the last top tier team they beat was Michigan, or that they played even was Michigan, and they beat them 75-57. That was a brutal game for Michigan. So I don't think they've seen really top level competition in a while. But again, it's up to Illinois to bring that top level competition. They haven't been doing that lately.
I just pulled up Marcus Carr's splits. Home, 47.7% from the field, 38% from three, 23 points a game. Away, 30% from the field, 23% from three, and 13 a game.
That's
dramatic.
Has to be some magic.
That's dramatic.
Because wasn't that the same last year too?
Yes.
There has to be some magic, some spell on Minnesota's court.
What was their really good big guy's name last year?
Oh,
who the heck was that? He was really good.
Oh my God. I know the name. You're lying. Why can't I think of this? Hold on. Let me pull it up. This make me so mad. When I see it. Daniel Oturu.
Oturu. See,
Or Oturu.
Yeah, Oturu. He
Yes.
did not have the splits that Carr has this year last year.
No.
He was very well balanced because when he came to Illinois, he put up like a solid 18 and 10. I remember Illinois won that game by 8. I thought they were going to win by 15 or 20.
No, he's really good.
If he were on this team, Minnesota would be good, but he left.
Scared.
He was like, "Nah, I'm going pro." And I think he's in the G League.
Is he?
Just fine for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's big players are just hard, right? Like
really hard to judge.
Or really hard to even find a spot in the NBA right now. Yeah, I mean, he signed with the Clippers in the second round. But I don't think he's playing in the NBA. He is dealing with a quad injury right now.
All right, so he's hurt. Yeah.
So he's hurt. So clearly it hasn't been doing much. But yeah, he was in the G League.
Gotcha.
So yeah, no, I agree. If he was still on this team, I think this team would be like really crazy good. Which shout out Daniel Oturu for leaving and not making it even harder on Illinois. Shout out you. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to. We can give score predictions now.
Yeah,
since we're kind of getting close to the end of the show.
Let's do it. You go first.
Why me? Okay. I'm gonna go. Minnesota wins. I'm gonna say it's pretty close. I don't think it'll necessarily come down to the last minute. I think Minnesota will like pull away in the last like 5 minutes or like around the 5-minute mark, and then Illinois will like kind of like fake come back and then not. You know what I mean? Like what they usually do.
Yeah.
So like the last minute won't really be that intense. Okay, like I don't think it'll be that intense. But I'm gonna go 72-68. 72-68 Minnesota.
I am going in the opposite direction. I do think Illinois is going to win. I think it's going to be 79-73.
So we can make a bet.
I guess it's time to make a bet.
All right, are we betting dinner?
Yeah, we can bet dinner again. That's fine. The usual.
You haven't won a bet in a while, so you better call up Brad.
Yeah, I'm 1-3.
You better call up Brad.
Brad, Io, Kofi. Be there for me, guys.
Yeah.
Can't lose another one.
If you're listening, Josh has bought me many dinners.
I've bought you like 2 or 3. It's all right.
It's been like 3-1.
It's all right. Just to recap, Illinois plays Minnesota on Saturday at 2:30. Gabby has Minnesota winning. I have Illinois. That's going to wrap it up for today. Alex Nauman, thank you for listening. Shout out you. From Gabby and Josh, this has been Illini Drive.